I opened the front door, expecting the quiet apartment I had left a few minutes ago, but instead, I froze. There they were, Sam and Jamie, cuddled together on the couch, laughing softly, their heads touching. My heart sank, and I couldn't move. My hands gripped the doorframe, as if it could hold me steady. For a long moment, I just stared, feeling like an intruder in my own home. I shut the door quietly and leaned against it, hoping they hadn't noticed me. My mind raced. Why would Sam do this? Why Jamie? I felt my stomach twist into knots. I wanted to disappear. Part of me wanted to scream, but another part just wanted to leave without anyone seeing me. I decided I'd wait, hiding silently in the hallway, trying to figure out what to do next. I could hear them talking softly, laughing at some joke I couldn't hear. Every laugh hit me like a punch. I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to storm in and confront them, but my legs wouldn't move. I realized I didn't even know what I wanted to say. Should I ask if Jamie knew? Should I ask Sam to explain? I felt paralyzed with jealousy and confusion. After what felt like forever, I decided to leave. I needed air, I needed space to think. I slipped past them without making a sound and went outside. The streets of England were quiet, almost peaceful, but it didn't help. I kept seeing them on the couch in my mind. Every step I took felt heavy, like I was carrying the weight of the world. I ended up at a small cafe nearby, trying to focus on the warm drink in front of me, but my mind kept replaying the scene. I watched couples laughing, joking, and hugging, and every smile reminded me of what I'd seen. I felt completely alone, even though people were around. It was the first time I realized how much I actually liked Jamie and how complicated things had become. I couldn't stop thinking about Jamie. Every laugh, every touch with Sam played in my head on repeat. I wondered if Jamie felt the same way about me at all. My hands shook as I held my cup, pretending to read the menu. I felt small, like I didn't even exist in their world. The thought of confronting either of them scared me too much. Back at the apartment, I avoided the living room at all costs. I stayed in my room, pretending everything was normal. But I could hear the faint sound of Sam and Jamie laughing together in the distance. It was like salt in a wound. I stared at my laptop, scrolling aimlessly, trying to distract myself, but my heart kept pulling me back to them. Days passed, and I barely spoke to Sam or Jamie. Every time I saw them together, a sharp pang hit me. I started avoiding meals with them, pretending I was busy with assignments. But it was impossible to escape the sight of them together. My heart felt like it was being squeezed, and I didn't know how to make it stop. One evening, I found myself in the living room while Sam was out. Jamie was there, scrolling on their phone, looking peaceful and unaware of my presence. I wanted to talk, to tell them how I felt, but I froze. Every word seemed too heavy. I just sat down quietly on the edge of the couch, pretending to read, wishing things could go back to normal. Jamie noticed me eventually. "Hey, Alex," they said softly, smiling. My stomach twisted. Should I smile back? Pretend I wasn't upset? I nodded, too flustered to speak. Their warmth hit me hard. I realized that despite everything, I still wanted to be close to Jamie. But now, everything felt complicated, messy, and impossible to untangle. The next morning, I woke up early to avoid Sam. I needed space to think without seeing them together again. But when I peeked out of my room, Sam and Jamie were already in the kitchen, chatting and laughing like nothing had happened. My chest tightened. I couldn't eat, couldn't speak, couldn't even pretend to be okay. I decided I had to talk to Jamie alone. I waited until Sam left for a late class. When I finally found a quiet moment, I felt my throat dry. Words that seemed simple in my head now felt impossible. I just sat next to Jamie, staring at the floor, hoping somehow they would understand without me having to speak. Jamie noticed my silence. "Alex, is something wrong?" they asked gently. My heart skipped. I wanted to scream, cry, laugh, all at once. Finally, I whispered, I like you." The words barely came out. Jamie froze, eyes wide, unsure what to say. The room felt heavy, and time seemed to stop for a moment. Jamie looked down, fidgeting with their hands. "Alex, I didn't know," they said softly. My heart both sank and soared. I wanted to reach out to hold their hand, but I didn't. The words we didn't say filled the room. I realized just how complicated things had become with Sam in the picture. The next day, I tried to act normal. I smiled at Sam, joked a little, but my mind kept drifting to Jamie. Every laugh between them stabbed at my chest. I wondered if Jamie had said anything to Sam about me. The apartment felt smaller, heavier. I couldn't breathe properly when they were together. I decided to go out for a walk in the park to clear my head. The trees in England's early autumn were beautiful, but I barely noticed. All I could see was Jamie's smile, Sam's hand brushing Jamie's. I wanted to text Jamie, ask them about us, but my fingers froze over the keyboard. Fear and hope collided inside me. Later that evening, I returned to the apartment, hoping for a peaceful night. But Sam was in the living room, sprawled on the couch with Jamie again. My stomach twisted. I felt like I was living someone else's life. I wanted to leave, but I didn't. I just stood at the doorway, watching, aching silently. Jamie noticed me again. "Hey, are you okay?" they asked. I couldn't lie. I shook my head, words catching in my throat. They moved closer, worry on their face. "Alex, talk to me," they whispered. My heart hammered, my body screamed, but I couldn't say the words I wanted most. I finally blurted out, "I can't watch you two like this." The words hung in the air. Jamie's eyes widened, and Sam froze in the hallway, hearing everything. The tension was unbearable. For a moment, silence filled the apartment, louder than any noise. My chest hurt from holding everything in for so long. Sam finally spoke. "Alex, I didn't realize—" Their voice trailed off. Jamie reached for my hand, soft and tentative. "I like you too," Jamie whispered. My heart leapt. Relief, confusion, fear, all at once. Everything was still messy, but for the first time, I felt a spark of hope. For the first time in days, I felt a little lighter. Jamie held my hand as we sat on the couch, Sam watching awkwardly from the corner. I didn't know what the future held, but at least I had a moment of peace. I realized that sometimes admitting your feelings is scarier than anything else, but also freeing. The next morning, things were different. I still felt nervous, but Jamie smiled at me across breakfast. Sam gave a small, apologetic shrug, which made me smile slightly. It was awkward, but somehow bearable. I realized life doesn't pause for feelings. It just keeps moving, and you have to find your place in it. I decided to spend more time with Jamie alone, away from Sam. We walked through the city streets of England, chatting and laughing. Every smile and shared joke made my heart lighter. For the first time, I felt like I could breathe without the weight of jealousy pressing down on me. One evening, Sam invited me to a group outing. I hesitated, but I agreed. Seeing Jamie and Sam together again made my stomach twist, but I realized I could handle it now. I wasn't invisible anymore. I had a connection with Jamie, and that mattered more than my fear. The outing went better than expected. Sam apologized properly, and I felt the tension ease. Jamie stayed close to me, holding my hand under the table when no one was looking. I felt proud of myself for standing up, for being honest. Things were still messy, but we were figuring it out together. Back at the apartment, the dynamic had shifted. Sam was more careful, giving Jamie and me space. Jamie leaned against me on the couch, and I realized I could finally relax. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. I finally felt like I belonged somewhere, with someone who understood me. One quiet night, Jamie and I stayed up talking. We shared hopes, fears, and silly secrets. I laughed more than I had in weeks. I realized that the scary moments, the awkward tension, they were worth it. Being honest about your feelings could change everything. The following weeks were easier. Jamie and I became closer, sharing more moments. Sam stayed in the background, but was friendly. I started enjoying our apartment again, feeling at home. I realized that honesty, courage, and patience could heal even the messiest situations. One afternoon, Jamie surprised me with a small gift, a book I had mentioned months ago. My heart swelled. I realized that love wasn't always grand gestures or dramatic moments. It was the little things, the quiet acts that showed someone cared. I felt lucky, hopeful, and more confident than ever. That night, I lay in bed, thinking about how far we'd come. From heartbreak and jealousy to hope and honesty, it had been a wild journey. I knew challenges would come, but now I wasn't afraid. I had Jamie, a friend in Sam, and myself. For the first time, I felt like life was mine to live, messy, beautiful, and real.